Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia and today we are here to set up our budget for the month of April. I have both of my sheets here for this video that I normally do, which is going to be for our April budget spread along with our variable income spread. Let's just go ahead and jump right in. Just real quick though, I did just want to mention that this is my Erin Condren monthly planner in the 7x9 design. Okay, so I'm going to zoom you guys in just a bit. But this is going to be in my April design, the second design. And I think this is so pretty with the florals. Okay, we're going to lay down the thick washi along with our little script here. This starts a new quarter of the year. So I believe I should have already have up my Q2 budget set up, since I do try to set it up every single quarter, so I don't really have to think about it again for how much we should set aside for all the different bills that we have. And we try to goal ourselves to stick to that budget every single quarter, and then at the end of the quarter we total up and tally to see how well we did or how bad we did and what we can do better the following quarter. But every single month, if you guys are familiar with how I budget, it's always the same things that I have in these spreads. Sometimes the numbers just change ever so slightly. Let's just go ahead and fill this in. For our April budget, we have our normal general, which is just mine and my husband's income. We both are hourly workers, so we just combine our income and we always set a budget of $5,200 every single month. We are zero-based budgeters as well, so that $5,200 gets distributed out throughout all the other categories that we'll be talking about today. Whatever extra, since we are hourly workers, me and my husband do keep a bit for ourselves, or we do also have some that we just go ahead and put straight into our joint savings. So that extra funds is a split between those two things. The reason why we do that is because over the years we like having some funds that is our own, so we can surprise each other or purchase things for each other or things like that without having the transactions shared, if that makes sense. So it's actually like a surprise, but that's just our personal preference, of course. We are also budgeting for a family of 4. We have a 2-month-old baby girl along with a 18-month-old baby girl, and of course it's me and my husband, and then we also do have 2 puppers. See, the next thing that we have is our extra. This is just like an extra spot just in case something does come up and I do want to pull in extra funds for that particular month. I honestly feel like I should stop incorporating this because I don't really recall ever needing to use that. I always just had it there like a just in case type of thing. So let's just go ahead and just get straight into our categories. We are cashless budgeters. We do use our credit cards for absolutely everything. If you guys know, you know, we don't use cash for anything. It's just our personal preference. We very rarely carry cash with us, and even so, we just like to use our credit card since we get 2% cash back rewards. Along with it helps us with building our credit and everything like that. But for our first section here, this is going to be kind of like our electronic cash envelopes. These are always the same, honestly, but the first one is going to be eating out. And the difference for this quarter, actually, we lowered our eating out expenses to $200 a month. It used to be $300 for the longest time, but we're really trying to minimize eating out so much since it's just been so expensive lately, and we've been trying to eat home a lot more. We've been fairly successful overall, well, at least for right now, but let's see how the month goes. Then we have groceries. And of course, since we're going to be eating out less, we bumped up our groceries amount to $500 a month for this quarter. So that will be $500 as our budget. Next, we have gas. And I honestly think we should have bumped up our gas because we do travel so much more when the weather gets nicer. I guess because of our cabin fever. But it's $150 that we have budgeted out. Then we have allowance. And this is kind of like our overflow, I feel like, because we very rarely actually buy things for ourselves, but every now and then we do. But we have our allowance for $75 for the month, and then we have our babies category, which is going to be $75 as well. Now for the total of this, adding up all of our budgeted amounts for all 5 of these categories is going to be $1,000 as our total. And that will be our budget for our little electronic cash envelopes section here. Next, we have our little fixed section. This is always where we house the funds that we're going to set aside for our sinking funds. And for that, it is going to be $800 that we're setting aside. Then we also have our Ally, which is our long-term savings account, where we house all of our big categories, such as our emergency funds or things we have set aside for saving, like for vacations or for our home or for our pups, things like that. But that is for Ally for $100. If we had other categories like investment accounts or something in here, we would also put that here too, but currently we're not. We did invest once upon a time, but we just haven't in the longest time. I just feel like we are prioritizing other things currently. The total adding up these is going to be $900 for those categories. Now, those are all of our variable and fixed, like random bills that if we ever do need to adjust, we can. But as for our bills that we cannot avoid, or the ones that we can't really change or avoid paying, we put those down here. But we also have a variable and fixed section for this as well. You guys definitely don't have to separate it out the way that we do. This is just how I really like to have it. So I always know the set amount that we need to pay for all of our bills for the month. You guys can also separate this out in ways where it's like first paycheck, second paycheck, or if you and your spouse want to separate it out between your duties and their duties. It's completely up to you. But this is just how I like to utilize these duplicated sections. The first thing is we're going to talk about all of our variable bills. For this month, we have utilities, gas. For utilities, gas, during this period, we did change it to an estimate of $100 per month. So that's going to be $100. Then we have utilities, electric. For this one is also an estimate of $100 for the month as well. Then we have our mobile. Our mobile actually changed, I think. I'm not really sure what the exact amount will be, but for right now, we're going to keep it at the $180 for the month or for the quarter in general. Then we have our student loans. For student loans, we are estimating our payments to be, for mine will be $175, and then for my husband's will be $125. These every now and then changes. Sometimes it fluctuates for whatever reason. Those are all the variable bills for the most part, but we do have an extra, which we call the holder category. This is just a bit of extra funds, but it's also to make our total amount that we need for all of our bills an even amount. And you guys will kind of see this go into play in a second after we add everything up together. So right now it might be a little confusing. But the total after adding up all of our estimated expenses for our bills is going to be $769.09 for all of our variable bills. So put down, let me just actually put this right here. Next, we have all of our fixed bills. Our first one is going to be our big one, which is our mortgage. Our mortgage amount is $2,313.94. And I had one of you guys ask me a while back, and I do realize I always forget to mention this, but we do live in Maryland, just in case you guys were curious about why our mortgage is so high. Then we have our internet. For our internet bill, it is going to be $95. Then we also have our Netflix subscription. This one, they raised it last year towards the end of the year, so hopefully they don't raise it again, but it's $12.71. Then we have Spotify. Spotify is $11.65. We have our HOA. HOA is $80.66. And then we have HBO. HBO is $16.95. And honestly, I feel like it's been that for quite a bit of time as well. But those are all of our fixed bills, and in total, after adding all of them up, is going to be $2,530.91 in total for all of our fixed bills. Now to add up what we need for all of these bills combined, I just like to have the total down here just because it's just easy to remember and give a number that we'll need for the month. So I'm just going to grab my little calculator sticker and just actually I'm so used to putting it a little bit lower. I'm going to put this a little bit higher and write estimate. And our estimate, after adding our variable estimates along with our fixed amount at $2530.91 plus the $769.09 is a total of $3,300 that we'll need for the month of April to pay for all of our bills down here. And without that holder of the $89.09, it wouldn't be a whole number. So that's kind of why I like to have that there. Definitely don't need to, but for me, I just really like doing that every single month. So no matter what, if something happens, I know that we need $3,300 for the month to pay for all of our bills. While up here for sinking funds or savings, electronic envelopes, if we do need to kind of alter or pull some funds from somewhere else, we definitely can from this top section. But that is what that is looking like. I feel like I haven't written in so long, and my handwriting is just like is really just chicken scratch now at this point. But I'm just gonna go ahead and draw the lines real quick, and I will be right back. And also, if you guys are curious as to why my ruler is so dirty, one of my pens, I don't know if it like exploded or what, but it leaked all over my pen holder, and I didn't know that I had ink all over my hands, and then I started tracking ink everywhere, including on my ruler. Okay, so that is now all the lines down. I accidentally drew over a little bit and I had to white it out. I feel like that's gonna bother me, but it kind of is what it is at this point. But this is what our budget is looking like for April. And before I forget, I realized I have to put down my other little stickers that I have here. Okay, and then I have this one that I usually keep for my savings spread. And let's go ahead and finish up our variable income spread. For this particular spread, it's mainly to just track our paychecks since we are hourly paid. Sometimes our amounts do fluctuate depending on whether or not we had, like, for example, overtime. And it's not just for that too, but it's to track anything else. Like there's been multiple occasions where we redeem our rewards from our credit card, for example. I like to just make sure I incorporate that in here as well. For our variable income and for our paychecks, since we do budget month by month versus paycheck by paycheck, you guys might know that any of the income that comes in for that month is for the following month. For example, all of the funds that came in for the month of March is now going to be going towards our budget for April, and anything that comes in for the month of April is going to be set aside for our budget for the month of May. And the reason why I do it that way is just because I like to have all the funds readily available at the beginning of the month, so I don't really have to worry about timing of anything coming in, and we're able to pay the bills and have the funds immediately. That's just something that we've been doing for a very, very, very long time now, for years now, and it just works the best for us. It's very forgiving if we kind of like want to be lazy and not really think too much about it. We know at the beginning of the month we have all the funds already ready for us. So you guys will see that when we do the transfers to our checking account and saving accounts, that kind of stuff, when we do our pre-balance video, for that video I normally set up the weekly balance spread with you guys, which is this one right here. This is to balance out our checking account. So we'll be doing that together for the month of April. So you guys will see how we just set up our checking account at the beginning of the month and just balance out our funds. So we're ready to go. I don't really have too much else to do besides setting down these little dots. I do like to set down 4 of these. This is just really to kind of what is it called, for any notations for the month, like bills or anything like that that I want to write down or jot down. For last month, I believe we ended up writing down that we had a medical bill that came in that was around $1,500 for the hospital bill. So that was one of them. And then I put down 4 because these 2 I end up using for my savings spread that we will end up doing together as well. But I'll draw the lines real quick and I'll be right back. Alright, so this is what our variable income spread is looking like, and that looks like it's actually going to be it for this video. This is where I'll write like the paycheck information. Like for March, for example, we had 2 paychecks since my husband was on unpaid leave, and then we had some paychecks from short-term disability since my company was only paying partial. Short-term disability also paid partial as well. But that's kind of what that's looking like. Now that's actually going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much as always for tuning in. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time. Bye.